Hello. Today we are going to do a very fun, easy painting. We're actually going to do two versions of it today. And it's a nice painting to do when you first begin because you really only need two colors to do it and a couple of brushes. We have started with a black canvas. And on this black canvas, I have put a mixture of alizarin crimson and blue and made a purple. And it has already populated the canvas. So I've already put it on the canvas, just like you would the liquid white or the liquid clear. It's already on the canvas. So this painting is kind of backwards. It's more about it appears out of the darkness instead of us putting light on dark. So I have a little round sticker. You can use any kind of sticker. This is going to be my moon. And you can make a big moon, a small moon, and you don't even have to have a sticker if you don't want. You can just place it with your finger. I like a sticker because I like a very clear moon. So there's already wetness on my canvas. So I'm going to see if I can stick the sticker on to my canvas without peeling the back off. I have one from my exposition. So now with this one, you can do it in the middle, on the side. As you know already, I don't like central things, so I'm going to put mine right here on the side. And it doesn't matter if it's not sticking out. If it's sticking a little bit, that's all right. So first thing is the moon. So that's where I'm going to have the moon. And see, there's a little shape of it already there that I've done. And what you need to do is you need to take a clean brush. I'm just going to use this round brush because I'm using it later. And I have the dark purple in my other brush. So I'm just going to use this. The colors today are very simple. I have a white, I have a purple that I've mixed. For the next painting, I have a phthalo green, and I have a white. So it's really, for this painting, is the purple that we've mixed and the white. And as you know, we paint our light spaces first. So I've got a little bit of white, and I'm going to work with my palette down here because I don't really need it that much. So I can see a bare outline of the white. So there it is. There's my white. And that's going to be the lightest. And of course, in between, every time you place your brush on your thing, because there's already purple on there, I'm going to clean it off so that the white that you get is a clean white. There's my moon. And then I got my sticker. I'm going to use the other side because this side has a little bit of purple, so I'm going to stick that on there. After that, we're just going to make so see how it's just appearing, the moon's appearing. What we're going to do is we're going to put a moon over the sound and put trees over it. You know, sometimes these nights in the sound, they're kind of foggy, and I see them at the lake a lot when you look at the canal, and it's just a fog. It could be nighttime, it could be daytime. Usually it's just when the night hasn't gotten quite dark yet, but the moon is out, or the moon is taking the light away. So, as you know, we paint light on water. And so the moonlight is going to come here and paint on water. So this is my moon, and then the water is below. So all I'm doing water. It's a horizontal movement. Goes there. That's your water. Then I'm going to take my fan brush and I'm going to just do some light. Just some light. Now, as the light hits, it always gets bigger. The light gets bigger. So closer to the water. Just a little bit of light. There we go. This is my dirty painting, my dirty paintbrush that I had from putting the color on the canvas. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the same thing that we did before because we have to build trees. The way that you load this painting for that, you just pull it, and you can always push it. What you really want is you want the separation of the bristles. You want the separation of the bristles on your paintbrush. And you can always test it on your palette and see how that gives the illusion of leaves. So we're going to place this thick paint onto our canvas to build our trees. And we've done this before, or if you haven't done it before, you are just placing this dark, and see how the dark appears on the light here. These lights. So what you're seeing is you're going to be seeing the moon through the trees. And as I have said before, or as I'm saying right now, you're building individual trees and you're putting in little bushes. You're not just stippling things. So that's one tree. And I think we're going to make some bushes up here. And you can't see what I'm doing, but when we start placing, we're layering this so that when we start placing paint on top, you'll be able to see the texture. If you want, it's up to you how close you want your vegetation to your moon or how much you want your moon to be covered by the vegetation. I like to have these little things down here. And then basic little trees. And I think that that's where we're going to end our little bushes because the rest is water. And so we're going to just leave it there. Now I'm going to just move a little bit of my purple around. Just going to darken that a little bit so that you have a little bit of the essence of water. What you also have on a lake, especially here, you'll have some little grasses growing. So I'm going to put some grasses here. And then you're also going to have the reflection of the grasses on the other side. And these are going to lighten up because we're going to put the white on top to highlight them. But we want to just do that illusion. See how fast this painting is? It's just, there it is. All right. Next, we're going to take our little round brush and we're going to just give it some highlights and we're pretty much done. So again, I'm loading my brush, have all that dark. Closest to the moon is going to be lightest, so that's where I'm going to place my highlights. And as I'm doing highlights, it's picking up that purple. My brush is picking up that purple. So there's one tree that's in the front right there. And then remember this tree, he's all there. It's all hanging out in the moon. And I always wonder, you know, sometimes I see the birds go to sleep and you'll go to a lake and all the trees, all the birds are perched on the trees. And they're just going to sleep. I always wonder what's asleep in there. So a little bit of that. I think we're going to also do a little bit darker here. So there's always these little bushes that are growing up here and some trees that are growing up here. See how it's my paintbrush is getting darker because it's got that. And this is just a very simple little light, delicate little painting. We laid down some stuff here, so let's highlight it just a little bit. Some trees here. They're the closest to the moon, so they're going to be the whitest. And don't forget to always leave dark areas. And maybe there's some bushes here, some here. And then I'm going to take a little bit more white, and I'm just going to pull some grasses up here because they're visible. These are the reflections. Here. And we're going to cut some lines, little water lines. This is my palette knife. And now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some lines in there and cut some water lines. And we will be done this first painting. I always think that once you put water lines on paintings, it just this magical event that suddenly you have water. So for this painting, all you need is a black canvas, or just buy a regular canvas and put some black gesso on it or some black paint on it. And then you're going to just paint a moon. And I'm going to just put a little bit, see, just the semblance of a few lines here, maybe a few right here, because there's always little sticks in the woods. There you go. And you don't want to overdo this painting. This painting is almost like a ghost that you've done. If you want, I have some liquid white here too. And we're just going to pull a little. You can pull some little things, but you don't want to do too many because this is really more of a painting of what you don't see than what is visible to your eye. Okay, so I'm done with this painting, and I'm going to pull this out. Let's make sure my moon is still there. There's my moon. Look, it got pulled. Some of that white got pulled, but have no fear. This is very much the Bob Ross way of making a moon, and you're just putting some white on there. I'm just going to clean it up a little You don't have to mess with this little painting. This one is almost like a black and white photo. So there's your purple one. I'm happy with this, and I'm done with this painting. So now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do the same painting, but with phthalo green. Right. When you put a canvas, I like to, there we go. I like to spring load my canvas so that it stays. There we go. There's your canvas. This canvas has phthalo green on it. So we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it with phthalo green. So now I need 2 brushes. I need one of these. Hold on. There it is. So there's my brush right here. This is all that I need for this. Now with this one, it's the same thing that we did. I have phthalo green. And I have my white for this. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a moon, but we're going to do this moon just like the old Bob Ross way, which is just with my finger, paint, and I'm going to do a smaller moon. So I'm going to just do a small moon right there. There it is. Now, as we did before, it has to come out the moon is going to come right out of here. So with these paintings, it just, once you start adding the color, it just kind of, it makes the world have an appearance. So I'm doing this one with my fan brush. You can do these. I wanted to show you guys a painting which you could do with very little investment on equipment or things, because it's amazing what you can create with hardly anything. So with this is a really neat thing to do with your phthalo green, because your phthalo green, see how it's kind of a ghostly thing. So I like to make little swirly, so you kind of making the illusion of clouds on your canvas. And you don't need a lot. You can really have a nice foggy little night. And I like this green. It's almost like a luminescence. I like to do ocean scenes with this color combination, because when you see this a lot in the ocean with when the moon hits the ocean and it's like a little white thing there. We're going to surround it by trees just like the other one. But I really like that kind of smoky. It's almost like a smoke effect going on. And of course, we're going to lay down our water. Our moon is over here. So our lines for our water are going to be here. Water is always horizontal. Now with this painting, I have taught it with the purple. I have taught it with the green. I have done a few with just some yellow ochre on and Van Dyke brown. There we go. There's our water line. We're going to lay in our trees, and then we'll cut in some light. I'm loading my brush again with the phthalo green. This is a different brush, but I'm doing it with phthalo green. And of course, I want that pattern. So And I'm a big proponent or lover or a painter of Spanish moss. So I always kind of like to have that illusion of Spanish moss in pretty much all my trees. We live, at least I live, in Wilmington, and I love Spanish moss because it's a surface that reflects. It reflects light. So it's silver Spanish moss. If you wanted to know the color of Spanish moss, it's silver. And it's a reflective silver. So Spanish moss is green or gold or pink or blue or whatever color you shine on it. And do you see that light coming through the trees? That's always such a pretty way to look at it. And I have a little hair there. So all you do for hair is you just pick it off with the corner of your brush. So I'm just laying the vegetation. There's one tree here. There's some bushes here. And I think that there's going to be one tree here hidden in the background. And you're not going to see a lot of that guy. This one, I'm putting a lot more vegetation right there. And then I'm going to, of course, pull my grasses over here and then pull them down here. Then I'm going to pull them down here. And I'm going to put some here. Everything that you lay down has to have a reflection. All right. So what I forgot, but I didn't forget, I meant to do it, is I didn't cut any water lines. So let's do that right now. I cut water lines. I just want a very thin little bit of paint on my knife. We're just going to cut some water lines here. And let's cut some water lines to reflect the moon here. Now you know that there's probably an alligator somewhere around there. I don't know if alligators are nocturnal or not. How about, I know squirrels are not. So there's moon. There's a reflection of the light. And I'm going to just cut a little bit here. This time though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the reflection of the tree in the water because you would be able to see the dark reflection. We don't really want to highlight a lot of that. But I want some vegetation to go down here. Now we're going to, I'm cleaning my brush. So now all we really need to do is just put some little light highlights on there, and we have another painting. And this is easy peasy. So hold on. Let's just do that right now. And I'm going to use the same brush because I want you to be able to do something with not a lot of things here. So this brush does the same thing as the round brush does, but you just need to just maneuver it a little bit more. And of course, as I travel in my painting, it's going to pick up a little bit more green. And there's these bushes that live up front here. And they're lit up by the moon a little bit. Now, of course, I teach every fourth Saturday of the month here at Winter Park Baptist Church. And I taught today actually to make up for, we just had some very cold weather in Wilmington and snow. So I had to teach a class today to make up for my weather event. I teach on the 4th Saturday of the month at Winter Park Baptist Church. And if you want to take one of my classes, you just have to call me or text me at 910-262-9728. And I'm going to pull this here. And I think we're pretty much done. This is a little simple little painting, but you get the drift. And I hope that you attempt something like this, because it's simple, it's doable, it doesn't cost you any money really. Just take a little canvas, some paint, a couple of brushes, pull some grasses, and you could mess with it forever. But like I said, I really like the ghostly atmosphere of this painting. Of course, also, if you want to have questions, or if you have compliments or corrections or want to tell me of what you would like me to paint next, just email me. My email address is going to be in the credits, and so is my phone number, and you can text me or email me, and I'm always available. Thank you so much. You have spent half an hour of your life with me, and I'm very grateful for it. Thank you. We'll see you next time.